Hello everyone, Luke here. Welcome to another MyTeam video. We're heading towards the business end of the season now. 15 rounds complete, 7 rounds to go, where hopefully we'll be able to keep up some of our performances that we have shown in the last couple of races. Last time out in Italy, made some fantastic overtakes in the final stages of the race to move into 9th position, pick up another couple of points. And what that means is we stay 8th in the Drivers' Championship. We are now tied on points, though, with Carlos Sainz. The team also staying 7th in the Constructors' Championship. Looking like we're closing up to the back of McLaren as well, but need to watch out for Alfa Romeo, who are showing some fantastic form of late. We have had a few upgrades complete for the next race. We've still got a few more to go as well, just a few small ones, which should help us improve as the season goes on, and I think we are going to need them upgrades. It is Singapore, one of the trickiest circuits on the calendar, so let's get qualifying underway. The Marina Bay circuit then in Singapore, home to Formula 1 racing since 2008. 23 corners, just over 5 kilometres, one of the trickiest and most technical circuits on the Formula 1 calendar, and one where in practice I have struggled around, if I'm being honest. Part of that's due to me having not raced too much around this circuit, and I think part of it's just down to the fact that I had to use up so many old engine components in practice to try and keep these newer ones fresh for qualifying and the race, mainly just to avoid getting penalties as we come into the final few races of the season. I do, however, still think that there is probably an extra engine we might have to take, and some extra other components as well, that will lead to grid penalties in the final few races. We're coming up to the end of the second sector at the moment, and we are currently in 15th position. Don't really want to be in the top 10 around this track. Quite hard on the soft tyres just because of how hot it is and how twisty of a circuit it is, so wouldn't be bothered too much about starting lower down, because I know the alternate strategy, which I love so much, is extremely powerful around this circuit. Just the final few 90-degree right-handers to go. Another chicane here then, just cutting a bit too much of that corner. Did get a warning for that, but not an invalidated lap time, thankfully. As we come across the final corner, we will be in 14th position. About standard for where we have been this season, if I'm being perfectly honest. After practice, though, I'd have absolutely torn your hand off to get that high up the grid.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top 3. Vettel, Bottas and Lewis Hamilton. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
See me there in 14th. Nick in 20th, pretty close to the back of Romain Grosjean, and Daniel Ricciardo, our rival, is in 9th position, but he will have to start on those soft tyres, so maybe we could take advantage, as I said earlier, of that alternate strategy. It's only one way to find out, though. Let's head to Sunday and head to the race.
Against the spectacular backdrop of the Singapore skyline, Formula 1 returns once again to do battle in what tends to become something of an endurance race, with the notorious sauna-like temperatures in the cockpit making for an extremely physically challenging Grand Prix. It's a 3.1-mile lap here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit, with 47% taken at full throttle. It's hot, humid and bumpy around the 13 lefts and the 10 rights of mostly slow corners, but we should see speeds of up to 200 miles per hour along the Raffles Boulevard. Anthony Davidson also joins me in the commentary box today. Now, let's talk about Charles Leclerc. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Hamilton, Stroll, Alexander Albon, and Ricciardo, Verstappen, Kvyat, Norris and Carlos Sainz, Perez, the owner-driver, Charles Leclerc and Giovinazzi, Ocon, Raikkonen, Romain Grosjean and Nick de Vries, Magnussen, Latifi, Gasly and George Russell ends our grid lineup. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
As you saw there are quite a few drivers with grid penalties, so that's bumped us up a row into 12th position. What can we do from there with our two-stop strategy for this race, starting on the mediums, going on to the mediums and then going on to the softs, similar to what we did in Canada, and it seemed to work well for us there. Hopefully it will this time, even though the pit lane is quite a bit longer. I just feel like the tyre life, I need to sort of do that with the tyre life around here. The hard tyres I did not enjoy whatsoever when I used them in practice, had so much understeer. This is really the only way I can avoid using the hard tyres, is going for a two-stop strategy. Is it a bit of a risk? Yes, but we'll never know if we don't try it, and hopefully the risk will pay off and we'll get a few more points. Underway then for the Singapore Grand Prix. Let's try not to get involved in any incident into turn one, although we did come very close to wiping out Carlos Sainz there in the McLaren. He's just got that bit extra grip at this point of the race on them softer tyres, and it looks like Perez is also trying to give it a go on us as well. Now let's head down this straight. You can see the slipstream. That Racing Point is an extremely fast car in a straight line, and we've also got Charles Leclerc giving it a go as well, but I've just about managed to hold off the Racing Point there. Are losing a bit of time though to those ahead, which you would expect, seeing as they're all on the softer tyres. Most of the drivers in the field I think have gone for that soft rubber. Jeff seems fairly happy though with our start, moving up one position. Always what you want to do in the early stages. You'd rather go up and then go backwards, obviously. Keeping it nice and careful through that hairpin, using a bit of our ERS, electrical energy. A, to stay in contact with Carlos Sainz. B, to make sure that Sergio Perez doesn't get any ideas in that Racing Point. This first lap's all just about being careful, and a bit like last time out in Italy, try and stay in contact with these guys until their tyres start to drop off. Then we can either pick them off or they'll come into the pits. As long as they don't start holding us up too much in a DRS train, that is the last thing that we want. I've got a bit deep there into that final chicane, coming around the final corner then of lap one. Not too bad, gained a position up into 11th. Now let's just settle into the rhythm once again. DRS open then on the back of Carlos Sainz in the McLaren. Can we make it work on the brakes into turn 7? Yes, we can. So that is a position gained up into the points now. His teammate, the next target. So Lando Norris, a couple of seconds ahead of us. Need to be careful though that Carlos can't use the DRS to fight back.
Hamilton is stopping now.
Bit of a late move there on Lando Norris, but I had been stuck behind him for a few laps, and that was one of the first chances I'd had to get close enough to him. You'll notice we're now up into 3rd position. Quite a few drivers have come into the pits to make their first of what I presume is going to be 2 pit stops. I certainly hope, for the sake of my strategy, everyone else is going to go for the 2 stops. So we're up into 3rd place. Expect us to gain on Stroll and Albon, because it will be a while before they come into the pits. For some reason I thought Stroll and Albon were going to be staying out longer on the soft tyres. Of course, seeing as they started on older ones, that makes no sense for them. We are into the lead of this race, 2.3 seconds.
Nick is coming in for his stop.
Jeff just tells me that Nick's coming in, 2.6 seconds now ahead of Norris, 6.5 seconds ahead of Giovinazzi, 7 seconds ahead of Ocon. We might be fighting those guys at the end of the race, so need to keep pushing. Still got another 5 laps before we come in to make our first of 2 pit stops. Time then for our first pit stop. As you can see there, this isn't exactly the easiest pit entry on the F1 calendar, so Giovinazzi staying out, Ocon coming in as well. We had extended our gap over Giovinazzi to about 8.5 seconds when we came into the pits, which was very nice indeed. New set of tyres on, out we go. I want to be sort of around where Lando Norris was. Hopefully maybe even a tiny bit ahead of Norris would be nice. Get a warning for crossing the pit exit line, and we nearly crashed on the way out the pit lane, and you can see Norris just behind us there, so that has worked out. It's not worked out too bad, if I do say so myself, and we're going to get DRS to help us defend from the McLaren as well. Need to be more careful on pit entry and pit exit next time, but we are now down into 13th place, but again, we're going longer than these guys, just thinking about the end of this race. Can I sneak it round the outside of Charles Leclerc here? That has somehow nearly just about paid off, as I almost got slammed it into the back of Sergio Perez there, but we have gained a position by passing Leclerc. We had a few people come into the pits as well. That is us back into the points. I think I might need to make a few more of those decisive moves as well. It looks like Kvyat has been the guy holding everyone up in this train at the moment, so hopefully we can either work our way up by passing the others and then get ahead of him, or we'll take advantage of when he gets overtaken by everyone else. But we are back into the points. Can I get alongside Sergio Perez and make this move work to get myself up into 9th position? He's going to have to yield on the exit.
P9 now.
There we go, P9, easy as that. Stroll and Ricciardo have got ahead of Kvyat. Hopefully Albon will soon, and then I'll just try and follow through. Oh, I don't think Albon was expecting that, and I've managed to throw one down the inside. He's somehow got back ahead of me. Getting very close to not leaving me any room there. Can I squeeze all the way around the outside? It was close to a yellow flag area, that, so I'm not sure that will be allowed. The game seems fine with it. I'm fine with that. Could have easily ended my entire race there. Albon was determined not to let me through. But there we go. I've gained a position into 8th. Now just to get past Kvyat as quickly as possible.
Some information on Norris. They are out of the race.
Lando Norris was the cause of those yellow flags, and hopefully this time around I can get a better exit than Kvyat. I didn't really there, if I'm being honest, but I should have way more grip than him. Pass him at the same place as where I got past Perez.
Okay, some information on Perez. They seem to have an issue.
There we go, up into 7th. Back into the lead of this race then, lap 19. Still another 6 laps to go until I come into the pits. Then obviously I'll be out on the soft tyres, so we'll have to see where I come out after I pit. I think probably somewhere around where Albon is. He's currently 6 seconds behind me, but I imagine he's coming into the pits very soon, so he'll gain a lot of time. Let's see where we are after that. It'd be amazing if the race finished now, because as a team...
Fuel target is +1. Faster engine modes are available.
Jeff always seems to know when I'm going to say something, doesn't he? As a team, we're currently 1-3. Right, final stop of the race. I have pushed like crazy these last few laps. Vettel and Bottas still not able to get ahead of Ocon and Giovinazzi. That's obviously good news for us. We're going to drop somewhere behind them. I'm not quite sure at this moment in time where we're going to come out, but I imagine there's a train of cars that we're going to be behind. It looks like we're already
Up to speed now. Let's get some heat into those tyres.
Let's see where we do come out then. Hopefully we can stay ahead of some of these guys. We're battling with Raikkonen, who's on the hard tyres, so he'll be heading towards the end of this race. We're going to get DRS off him, not that it matters, because I'm going down the inside anyway into turn 5. But there we go, we've made a position up. We're in 7th position at this moment in time. Time to push on these tyres. We'll get ahead of Grosjean, who actually looks like he might score his first points of the season. We'll get ahead of him hopefully, and then see where else we can get. Currently though, we are on for some good points. Just how good though remains to be seen.
We're catching the car ahead, but be aware that these tyres need to last till the end of the race.
We are definitely catching the car ahead, Jeff. So much so, we've overtaken him before we get to the main straight. Well, the longest straight, should I say, the main overtaking opportunity. We are up into 6th position. How much are these quicker guys ahead being held up by Ocon and Giovinazzi? Could we just possibly catch up to them? Because at this moment in time, it looks like we might have a Renault on the podium and an Alfa Romeo in 2nd position, because Bottas and Vettel have just not been able to make any overtakes. We're in 6th place. Can we catch these guys up? There's your answer to can we catch these guys up. Look how close we are.
Teammate behind is 15.8 seconds.
Look how close we are with 4 laps to go of being in the lead of the race right at the end. We could win this race, but it might take some very bold overtaking manoeuvres from myself. Can I close in on the back of Lewis Hamilton then coming down this straight? It's going to have to be very late on the brakes. I'm sort of alongside him. I've just about forced my way through. That is 5th position. Bottas next. I'm going for this victory. Just look how much more grip I've got than Bottas, and I'm alongside, and I'm through. That is 4th position. This would be our best finish of the season so far. I'm on the fastest tyres. Let's try not to get too excited, because this could all go very wrong very quickly if I wear these softs out too much, but it's looking very good at the moment. Got such a good exit there, but I'm just running out of ERS. Can I outbrake the Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel? I'm still alongside him. I'm into a podium slot. And Minardi is in with a shot of a podium. 3 laps to go. 2 cars to pass for us to get our first podium and first victory. Giovinazzi's having to go defensive. Can I go all the way around the outside of him? This is going to be tight, and I think I might have just about done it, hopefully. Hopefully there's no contact. I've made my way through. That has allowed Ocon to get more than a second ahead, so I'm going to have to push like crazy to get that gap back down. We're into 2nd, 2 laps remaining. Is this the opportunity? Can I get enough alongside to go down the inside into turn 14? We are in the lead of the race. 1 and a bit laps to go. Just keep it calm. Keep calm. Don't do anything stupid. Got plenty of spare fuel to use to just power your way out of the corners. Don't want to spin up the wheels though, because already these softs are probably looking...
We've only got 2 laps of fuel left.
2 laps of fuel's absolutely fine, Jeff. Softs looking about as worn as my first set of mediums were when I took them off. Final lap of the race then.
This is your final lap of the race. We're leading our teammate by 16.5 seconds.
Of what has been an absolutely crazy Singapore Grand Prix. Different strategies that different drivers have gone for. I've gone for my new tried and trusted technique of putting on the softer tyres towards the end of the race, and we've somehow had enough grip to get ahead of these faster guys.
1 lap of extra fuel target +1.
Keeping it in the higher gears through these corners because I don't want to spin the wheels up and blow this at the last minute with a daft spin somewhere. But as long as I keep it nice and clean through the old Singapore sling, heading onto the Anderson Bridge, that's really the last major overtaking opportunity. So that's the last place, obviously, where Ocon will have DRS. This has just been a crazy race. Look at this. I'm first, Ocon is second, Giovinazzi in the Alfa Romeo is in third position. Somehow they were able to hold off Vettel and Valtteri Bottas. Somehow they were able to do that. I managed to get ahead of Grosjean pretty quickly and Raikkonen after my final pit stop. Caught up to these guys, got ahead of Hamilton, who couldn't get ahead even though he's on the medium tyres. And we're going to come across the final corner to check for checkered flag to take the victory in the Singapore Grand Prix.
Great job, you've done everything we wanted today.
We don't get driver of the day. I don't care. I've got 25 points. We've got the win. Like, Minardi have won an F1 race. They've never had a podium. They've never had a podium. Here in Singapore, practice went... You guys didn't see it. Practice was absolutely dreadful. We were so slow. Somehow it's all come together.
This was won through an abundance of speed and an abundance of skillful overtakes. Inside, outside, cutting underneath, we saw it all today. And it's really nice to see a Grand Prix won in that manner. A race surely that will satisfy the purists today, I think.
Here comes your top three making their way down to the podium for what can only be described as a
yeah, I'm
fantastic
milking the
day
applause
for
here.
Formula One.
What a victory. This is like Italy when we saw Gasly win. This is just... I know I said it'd be nice if we got a podium this season. I didn't believe it was going to happen. I never believed we'd get a win. I never believed we'd get a podium and I'd have a Renault and an Alfa Romeo alongside me. But there we go. Our first, hopefully, of many victories. Wouldn't surprise me if next race we don't score any points, but we've taken a victory. Just what a fantastic race. Unbelievable.
Let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. More points for Valtteri Bottas, further solidifying his lead at the top of the table. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Let's give it to Esteban Ocon. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Meanwhile, Renault move up the table with another strong performance this weekend. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
I'm going to be honest, Crofty. I can't see the next race being as wild as this one. We're up to 7th in the championship. We're only 12 points off Alex Albon. All of a sudden, I said we might be able to overtake McLaren. We're already 11 points ahead of them. Look at that. Number 1, 12 to first. Nick finished in 18th. I mean, that's how close of a race it was. He was only 16 seconds off of me and he's down in 18th position. That was crazy. You wouldn't get that happening at many other races. I'm still not sure how I did that. Still not sure how I've got the victory. I'm sure Claire will now have an interview with us.
Let's have your thoughts. How do you think this team will be feeling after that result?
Oh, they'll be kicking themselves. They didn't even get a podium.
Do you have any comments about the collisions?
I'm not making any comment. I had to force my way through, didn't I, to get the win.
Well, here's hoping they're working hard to find some improvements.
I mean, we saw that. Bottas and Vettel just stayed stuck behind Ocon and Giovinazzi. The AI do seem a bit tame. I knew if I forced my way through, sometimes literally, I'd end up reaping the rewards. We're probably ahead now in the rivalry all of a sudden. 10-9. That Renault's clearly the faster car than us. It's just we got the strategy absolutely spot on there. Team Acclaim, I think we're going to hit level 13. Which I'm sure that will give us something useful, get us closer to getting another sponsor perhaps. Was a decent race from Nick as well. He was running in 3rd place. Let's not forget at one point, I think we just about managed to get ourselves a top 10 finish there. Understandably some damage reductions around Singapore. Quite a few walls for us to hit into. But we are race winners. Round 15 of the season. Well, round 16, sorry, of the season. we've got a podium, we've got a victory at the Singapore Grand Prix. Probably one of the tracks where I would have least expected myself to get a victory. But it has happened. We are race winners. That is pretty much everything. Thank you guys so much for watching.
I think we've got room for some more investment.
We've got a decent amount of money. Let's invest in the car. Next race is Russia. I somehow doubt that whatever we do, we'll be able to match that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time.